When I walk, when I talk, I always think of you. Night and day, in every way. Hello and welcome to Globetrotting with Gillespie. Me, Dana Gillespie, on the sofa here at the Temple of Art and Music, known affectionately as the TAM, here in London at the Elephant and Castle. Now sometimes I get really wonderful, well no, all my guests have been special, but this one is particularly special to me because all my relations on my mother's side come from Norfolk. So I go up to Norfolk occasionally to see the Buxtons, and when I'm really lucky, I get to sing with the guy I'm about to introduce you to. He's got a great blues band, but not only that, he's got a great voice and great guitar style. So I'd like you to meet Mr. Dave Thomas.
Hi there, Dana. Good to see you.
Dave, when did we last do something together? When did we first do something together? What happened?
I thought about that. I've known I've known you and of you, and I've seen you in London from, the days when I lived in London and played in London. So that must have been the 70s, early 70s through.
The old days.
It was really, really when I kicked off Fine City Blues, which was a kind of concept around a blues club in Norwich, because I just happened to land there because of completely unconnected business reasons. And I liked Norfolk, I really liked it, so I'm still there.
Me too.
But Fine City Blues, in the early days of Fine City Blues, our main object was to bring blues artists and bands from outside the area into Norwich in particular, to try and put it on the map as a centre of excellence for blues. And you were one of the first people I thought of calling.
And it was such fun. We had such fun.
Straight away.
It was really good.
I remember you were such a hit with my band because you turned up with your set list, and the set list was on the back of prostitutes' cards.
Yeah, there's sex cards.
Yeah, that you'd rescued from some telephone box in London or whatever.
Well, they're all over London. Now, what I want to know, though, Dave, is do you come from a musical family? I mean, how come you landed up in this mad world of blues?
I didn't know that I came from a musical family. I mean, my father sung beautifully, but mostly in the bath. I come from a dock town in South Wales, Newport, and I went to a Baptist chapel, and I was encouraged to sing because they obviously thought I could sing probably better than I played rugby. It had to be one or the other.
You chose the better one, I think.
Well, the safer one long term. But I found out much, much later, many years later, that my mother was the 13th child, and she had 10 elder brothers, and they formed a male voice choir in the docks in Newport. So it was on my mother's side heavily, and recently for my sins I've done a DNA test, and I've discovered, which didn't surprise me, I'm 52% Welsh, 38% Irish, musical connection big time, 7% Scottish, and 3% the rest, which is English and all of Western Europe combined.
So you're a real Brit.
I'm a Celt. I'm a musical Celt, that's right.
So when did you decide that you wanted to make music your be-all and end-all and your lifestyle?
Really early, I think. At 7 I taught myself to play harmonica underneath the bed covers. By the time I was 12 I had my own band, which I called Skid Row, rather.
There was a band called Skid Row.
I was there first.
Yeah.
I was there first. I'd heard blues on the TV, I think. Mm-hmm. Cliff Mitchellmore, I think, used to present news
around
at 6.
6 o'clock, yes.
And I saw Sonny Boy Williamson and Memphis Slim, a harmonica player and a piano player. Who would guess I would end up playing guitar? But I just absolutely fell for the music at all levels, as much as any 11-year-old kid could do, and the rest of my life really has been experiencing all those dreadful things that make a blues band a blues band.
Yeah, but you know, what's so marvellous about the blues is it's never in fashion, so it can't go out of fashion.
That's right.
So we keep trotting. I mean, I made a conscious decision at the middle of the 70s. How long can you be teetering on stilettos and with plunging neckline? Go to blues, you can do that till you drop down dead. Till, as long as the chops or whatever still work, you keep doing it.
I gave up the stilettos at an early stage.
I don't think it suits you. I prefer these.
No, that
now
wouldn't
tell
work.
me, you were in quite a well-known band. You were telling me this story about the Wombles things. Please repeat it to me again. I love it. Well, it's sort of nice.
That was later. The well-known band at the time was called Blonde on Blonde. And
that's it, Blonde on Blonde.
And that was my first major move. Instead of going to university as I should have, I broke the news to my mother 2 weeks before I was off to study English and philosophy somewhere in the north.
Which wouldn't have got you anywhere.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll never know. She framed my Students' Union card, and it was on the mantelpiece for 8 years, like an accusing finger. But I just went on the road with this band called Blonde on Blonde. Blonde on Blonde were a big band in progressive rock. They were right at the centre of the scene in London, you know, when the Doors were here and Hendrix was here. I've seen the first copy of Time Out, and Blonde on Blonde were everywhere in London.
I saw them on billboards everywhere on the same circuit.
Yeah.
You know, the London circuit had loads of gigs in those days.
Yes. Their original singer, Ralph Denyer, moved on to form a band called Aquila, and they came back to Wales to grab me because they, you know, I was about 6-7 years younger than most of them, but they knew I could sing again, you know, from the Baptist chapel. Yeah. We'll have you, they said. So I was on the road then for 3 years all over the UK, having a pretty good time for an 18-year-old boy.
Yeah, I bet. So, and then what happened?
Oh, the band eventually, because of musical differences and the huge shift in music away from experimental music, where the main scene was sort of gigs in colleges and clubs. You know, you had Elton John breaking through at that same stage, which is a wonderful musician, but you know, he started as a cover artist, and
I know because I did them all with him.
Of course, you did.
I did. That's why this place here at the Thames got these LPs everywhere saying "Top of the Pops."
I spotted them.
They sell for about 50 pence in charity
shops. But they're
shops.
great. They bring back memories for me. I can tell.
Yeah, well, me too, of course.
But no, I mean, you know, the whole era had moved on, and our record company wanted us to have an attempt at producing a single, which was not our thing. So me and Gary wrote a couple of songs, and it wasn't deliberate. They just came out this way. Mine was about incest in a kind of hillbilly kind of pastiche. We were taking the piss out of the record company, really. and Gareth wrote something about a family killing, axe murdering maniac, and they said, "Don't think this is going to make hit single. Do your album," and it turned out to be the last album. So then I moved up to London, auditioned and joined a band called Rain, which had been put together by Robin Le Mesurier, who was the son of John Le Mesurier, the sergeant in
yeah, I know.
You know.
And sort of half brother of the guy I wrote many of my albums with, David Malin. David Malin,
right, yeah.
Who's anyway, that's a whole other story,
yeah.
But he's no longer on the planet.
So I joined that band, and we were together hoping for the big break, and Robin came in one day and said, "Good news, we're going to be the Wombles." And I can't say on camera exactly what I said, but I left the band then and returned for my sins to the folk circuit.
Yeah.
I worked for Harrods packing grand pianos, nearly breaking my back, and Robin ended up playing guitar for Rod Stewart, and my two girl singers joined the Kinks for 5 tours of the States, and I was just doing the folk clubs, but I was playing blues again, so I was happy. I was very happy.
Well, you know what's so amazing though, because most of us who are still alive in the blues world have got a lot of past history, but right now you have made, actually I brought it in my bag, I should have been prepared. You made this album, and now I'm one of these women that, look at the size of my bag.
It's a proper bag.
It is. Do you know, I bought it in Uzbekistan. But here, where is it? Yes, this, ladies and gentlemen, this album has been #1 in the blues charts. Finally, after all these years of kind of being around, Dave Thomas, One More Mile, he's got a massive hit in the blues world,
Well.
and I'm so proud of him. I mean, you gave me some others.
Oh, they're old stuff.
Live at the Fat Cat, and what's this one?
Cold Harbour. That's an important crossover album.
But
this is the one, really.
This is the one, and not only that. When I saw it on one of the charts, all the albums that you were up there, but they all have big coloured covers, and this is a nice black and white album cover, which looks great. You were about to have another one.
Yes, yeah. I've got another album due for release any minute now. We finished it just before the lockdown, but it made no sense to release it then. I worked for 4 years with Dave Greenslade, the keyboard player from John Heisman's Colosseum, and
they were very
the
famous.
eponymous Greenslade. Yeah, I mean, they were on a major European tour just 4 or 5 years ago, before John Heisman passed away, sadly.
Yeah.
But Dave was a master of that beast there, the Hammond organ, obviously, lurking, you know. So I'm looking forward to getting it out there. Completely original and basically music that could have been written by nobody else but 2 old guys like us.
You were about to say 2 old farts, maybe. No, I
knew I didn't have to say that. I knew
is
you'd
that
pick me
the
up.
album I did some backing vocals
Yes,
on?
absolutely, and thank you so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, my pleasure.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
doing backing vocals. What's the album actually called?
It's called G&T, Greenslade and Thomas. Get it?
Oh,
Make it a
easy.
large one was my working title.
When's it? Do you know when it's coming out?
We're literally finalising the cover design now, so where are we? It'll be out next month.
Well, it's fabulous. This One More Mile, for those that need to know. Everyone should know, because blues is such an honest type of music, and there's no bullshit with blues. And of course, Dave gave me this kind of promo thing, Sweet Home Chicago, Shotgun Blues, and then it says on it here, with all things Dave Thomas, it's usually worth the wait. Now this is true. So Dave, I was thinking, I mean, you're about to do a gig. Would you like to go up and give us a song?
Of course I would.
Fantastic. So I'd like to thank Dave Thomas, and James will be playing with him as well. And he has his own band, because I'm singing with you, aren't I, later on in the year?
Absolutely.
Yippee!
You definitely will be.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Thomas.
I'll give you a twirl.
Yes, give us a twirl. Yay! Yeah, and he's away.
One More Mile. One more mile. Only got me one more mile to go. One more mile. Only got me one more mile to go. It's been a hard day of schooling. Don't have to cry about you no more. You know they tell me every school year, you know they often take a mate. This woman that I'm loving only living this one state. One more mile. Only got me one more mile to go. It's been a hard day's journey. Don't have to cry about you no more. You know I did wrong when I took a gamble. You know I bet my money wrong. I was betting on my baby, but my baby wasn't at home. one more mile. Only got me one more mile to go. It's been a hard day's journey. Don't have to cry about you no more. One more mile. I only got me one more mile to go. One more mile. I only got me one more mile to go. It's been a hard day's journey. Don't have to cry about you no more. One more mile. Only got me one more mile to go. One more mile. Well, only got me one more mile to go. It's been a hard day's journey. Don't have to cry about you no more. Thank you so much. Thank you. One more mile.
You like glue, and here I stand in Wonderland, and it's all because your love is true. Your love is true. Your love is true. You stop my heart from feeling blue. Your love is true. Your love is true. In troubled times it pulled me through. My past is all because your love is true.